Alright you lot, how's it going? So, I've had a few comments with a few questions in, and we'll start with number 1. Only recently subscribed to your vids, mate. I'm loving them as I'm quite new to the hobby. I'd love a video of brands you'd recommend for all running gear and radio gear, if at all possible. I know a Futaba at least. Thank you. So, as far as radio gear goes, I can only really give my opinion on my experience over the last 20 odd years, and that's it really. I'm not by any means very well versed in it. There's a lot of people out there that just buy everything all the time, and they've had a go of Spectrum, Futaba, Fly, every single brand. But what I used to do was just be happy with what I've got. So let's have a look at them. First of all, if you happen to get yourself, if you've got yourself a HPI, right? So it's a Savage. The Savages came with these, and I don't know who makes these. I'm assuming they probably are HPI's own, or they might well be made by something else. They're definitely made in China, that's for sure. Anyway, these are brilliant. The Savages come with this one. This is the Savage 21's original radio system, 27 megahertz, AM. You can switch the crystals, obviously. This had a split red and brown in it. My finger's bleeding, I've just caught it on the bench. So I used to run a split red and brown, but that broke up, so I don't know what I've got in there now, something else. But these are brilliant. So if you get yourself a Savage, and it comes with the original transmitter and receiver, and it's working alright, keep it. Yeah, make sure you run a failsafe on the receiver, because 27 megs doesn't have built-in failsafe. 2.4 gigahertz on the other hand has built-in failsafe, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But if you've got one of these, in my opinion, these are the best. I used this for more than 15 years, and it got chucked in the bag, it got dropped off of benches. You know, when you're in a park bench and you lean it on the bench and you knock it off and it goes smash on the floor. Man, these are solid, absolutely brilliant, and it still works great. The only reason I took it out of the Savage and started using 2.4 gigahertz was because I became a snob. We've all been there. You grow up, didn't you? You know, you might start earning more money or whatever the case is. You become a snob, start to follow the sheep and buy something new. That's what I've done, and I'm pretty happy I've done it, and I'll explain why in a minute. But if I didn't do that, I'd still be using that same receiver and that transmitter, that radio gear in the Savages, because they're so good. And what a lot of people don't realise is you can actually use this same transmitter for more than one car, right? The beauty of 27 megs, yeah, was the fact that you only had to change the crystal. This particular one is 27075. Transmit. Yeah. So all you have to do is just have another one of these with another crystal in, which matches the receiver on the other car that you want to use. And all you got to do, plug that into that, and now that transmitter will work with that car. Yes, you might have to adjust the trims a little bit, but that's fine. So a lot of people didn't realise that you could use one transmitter with more than one car. You just had to keep your crystals that you wanted to use and just change them. It takes 2 seconds to pull the crystal out and put a new one in. So that's what I've done a few times. Used this one with the Rush a few times as well. But happy days. So if you've got one of them, I'd say keep it. Now these are alright. This one's a bit dusty because it's been on the shelf and I haven't used it in years. But these ain't too bad. They're about 30 quid. Probably gone up a bit since when I bought these, but they've got a charging port there, so if you've got rechargeable batteries you can charge it up. They're alright, yeah, they are what they are. As far as radio gear goes, these are rock bottom cheap. Yeah, they are the bottom of the bottom as far as price goes. And I know 30 quid is a lot of money. They're probably more than 30 quid now. but trust me, you can spend thousands on radio gear, so, or at least at the high hundreds anyway. So as far as that goes, these are really inexpensive, and they're alright. They seem to do the job quite well. There's several different versions of these. You can get different brands. You get Core RC, you get whatever this one is, E-Tronics, Pulse. You know, when I was buying and selling RC cars, and if I get one that didn't have any radio gear, I'd just go to Wheelspin Models and I'd buy these 2 or 3 at a time, because they come with a receiver as well. And then I'd just put this on it and sell it with this, because people are more than happy with this. It does the job. So if you want a really inexpensive bit of radio gear that doesn't have any bells and whistles, it literally just has the bare minimum trims there, this is alright. Next, FlySky. Now I know I've actually put FlySky, particularly this transmitter, down quite a lot, because, well, it does have its flaws. It might just be that this particular one's a little bit dicky, I don't know, but I have found a few flaws with this. But everything's got its quirks, everything's got its problems. But FlySky stuff ain't too bad. I actually had a FlySky transmitter for my FPV drone when I had FPV drones. I didn't actually do, I think I've done a few videos of FPV drones on this channel, but I didn't, nowhere near as much as I was actually doing behind the scenes, so to speak. I really liked FPV. I only stopped doing it because I couldn't afford it. I needed some money, so I had to sell something, and I thought the drones have got to go. But I had FlySky radio gear in the FPV drone. I had 2 drones, and brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, really good, responsive, and it worked well. I can't remember the model of that transmitter, by the way. Some of you can say, what model was it? I can't remember. But this one, this GT3B is alright, you know. I've got a few dicky receivers. You do have to be careful. I think I bought 4 brand new receivers, and I'm pointing to the drawers because they're in one of them drawers and I don't know which one. But I've bought 4 brand new receivers, and I think 2 of them, they're brand spanking new, not second hand, they were brand spanking new. 2 of them worked flawlessly, the other 2 were funny. They'd have a range from here to there, and that was that. And I had Mr. Bo, good old subscriber friend of mine, he actually sent me some old second hand ones, and a few of them were alright, the other few were not so good, but they were second hand, so what do you expect? But these FlySky things, they're alright. And this is more or less the bottom of the range, but you can get more expensive ones with touch screens and all sorts. And I haven't got any experience with the touchscreen and the more expensive versions of FlySky, but I know a lot of people that have, and they say they're very good. So that might be an option for you. Go and get yourself a FlySky. This is pretty cool. I think it can have up to 40, I think it's 40 different models, like different cars, all on this one transmitter. All you got to do is switch it over each time you want to use a different one, bind it all to the same, you know, bind them all up, and it's good. It's got all your endpoints, everything you need in there. I don't know if it can do mixing for brakes and steering. I'm not sure, but you have to read the description of it before you go and buy yourself one. But yeah, I don't think he's got any information there, but not a bad bit of radio gear there. So these are, you know, these are sort of the lower end things. These come with a lot of cars. I think if you want to buy these, if you wanted to buy this separate as like a replacement, I'm pretty sure these were quite expensive back in the day, but this particular one's 20 odd years old now, but I'm pretty sure you could buy them separately. I don't think you can anymore. Someone probably correct me in the comments. I don't think you can buy these anymore. Everything's 2.4 gigahertz now. But these were pretty expensive back then. And then we've got a bit more of a higher end piece of equipment here. We've got a Futaba, a T4 PM. This is a plus. Very nice piece of radio gear there. And obviously, you know, you get as many receivers as you want. You can buy the transmitter and it comes with a receiver. You pick what receiver you want, when you buy it, and you can get most receivers with it. Then you just have to keep buying more. The downside is the receivers are really expensive. They're about 30. I think the cheapest receiver that I've seen, the bottom of the range one's about 30 quid, 35 quid. Anything, then they just go up and up and up. Receivers for Fly Sky, they're about £3 or £4 each. So there's a big difference in the cost of, you know. So if you wanted to have 40 models, you're looking at £3 or £4 a receiver. If you wanted to have, well, this can take, I think it's 100 different models. I think it's 100. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 100 different models. It's definitely, well, we can find out, can't we? We can find out. Model select. Let it go over. No, it's definitely more than 40 though. Oh, maybe it is 40. Oh, perhaps it's 40 then. I thought it was 100. Alright, well I got that wrong. It's 40. What's that one then? That's less than 40. Alright, maybe my facts aren't completely accurate. But there's a lot of models you can have with that. Even if you had 40, right? You're looking at about 50 quid or a minimum of 35 quid per receiver. So that's going to add up. But this is absolutely superb. Every single piece of Futaba radio equipment that I've ever had has been brilliant. I've had in the past a few of those. I've had a few thumb ones. We're talking 10 or 15 years ago now. 27 megs. Really good pieces. They're solid as well. This one's quite light, but them ones, back then they were quite heavy. Like this one. This is heavy, and I like that. Now, you know, technology's moved on. These are a lot lighter, but they're really robust, durable. You can plug them into a computer and do all kinds of programming stuff. You got a micro SD slot there to put a micro SD in there. You can charge your batteries. You can plug it into a computer. You can adjust the the stiffness of the trigger and the wheel if you want to. I've never managed to work that out though, it doesn't seem to work for me. Yeah, and you can do steering mixing for twin servos. I use this, that's the reason why I use this on the twin engined GTX2, because we've got twin steering servos as well as twin engines, but that doesn't matter. We've got twin steering servos, so they need to be working together, not fighting against each other. And you know, not every transmitter is capable of that. While we're on the topic of all the radio gear, let's have a little chat about fail-safes. Now, there was a bit of an issue with one of my subscribers regarding fail-safes. Now, let's just say you've got 2.4 gigahertz, yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, 2.4 gigahertz, and you think, oh no, I need to put a fail-safe on it. Perhaps it ran away or something happened. A fail-safe won't work with 2.4 gigahertz. It won't do any damage as far as I know. I did do a little experiment and I wanted to see what will happen. This is a few years ago now, so I did plug a fail-safe, plug this one in. This one's over 20 years old. It's the first ever fail-safe I ever had. I put it on the Savage, and it's a brilliant bit of kit. This is just a smaller, more modern version by Fast Tracks. Does the same thing. I don't find these ones quite as reliable as this one. This one was brilliant, and it always was. So when I done my little experiment, nothing happened apart from it just didn't work. It seemed to be that the fail-safe was fighting against the receiver, because, well, not the receiver, but the 2.4 gigahertz system. Because 2.4 gigahertz, doesn't matter if it's that one, if you got that one, or if you got that one. Doesn't matter. If it's 2.4 gigahertz, yeah, it'll have a built-in fail-safe. With these ones, you set the fail-safe up within the transmitter, okay? Not the receiver, you set it up within the transmitter. Same with that. Let me think. No, that one you do set up with the receiver, as far as I can remember. Same with that one, okay? You set it up by pressing the button on the receiver. You get the light flash a couple of times, wherever the instructions say. You hold it on brake or wherever you want the failsafe to go to. Maybe some people like it on neutral, some people like it on brake. I know some people think that if they have it on failsafe on brake, then you burn the servo out and all that. I'm not interested in that. That's a topic for a different video. Anyway, if you add one of these failsafes onto a 2.4 GHz system, it won't work. It won't do its job. In my experience, in my experiment, they'll just fight against each other. It's pointless, doesn't work. So don't put it on. If you've got 27 megs, yes, you need to run a failsafe. Okay? As I said, 2.4 GHz system has built-in failsafes. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be 100% safe all the time, because if your battery becomes disconnected, your wire breaks, or the battery's just faulty, or maybe it's old and had it and doesn't hold a charge, it goes from full charge to absolute zero in a matter of seconds, as some batteries do when they've had it, it ain't going to save you, because the failsafe, whether it's this type or if it's your built-in 2.4 GHz failsafe in your receiver / transmitter, it still needs electric in order to function. Not only that, your servo and receiver need electric to function as well. So while the failsafe will, when the voltage gets to a certain point, it will stop, and your car should stop sitting there, it'll be ticking over, and you won't be able to do any input, but you can still steer, but throttle and brake wise you can't do nothing. If the voltage drops too low, the servo can't operate, the failsafe can't operate, nothing can operate. If it's on full throttle and your battery becomes unplugged or the wire breaks, it's going to stay on full throttle. A failsafe ain't going to help you there. So remember that, because I know people who say, oh, I had a failsafe on, but it still ran away. Alright, well, what was it like when you found it in the bush? Well, the battery was out. Oh, that's why then, because the battery wasn't tied in or whatever, or the wire was hanging out, it got caught on a bit of grass or a stick, ripped the wire out. It's going to stay on full throttle. The only other way that you can protect yourself against that is by having a strong elastic band. I use hairbands. I nick my daughter's hairbands because they're quite strong, and wrap it round the throttle and the high speed needle. That way, sometimes the servo's still going to stop it from pulling it closed. Alright, it's not always going to work, but at least it's something else trying there. So if your battery becomes disconnected, you've got another bit of like a little backup failsafe in the way of an elastic band pulling on that throttle closed. It might help, it might not. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but that's what I do. I've always got you can buy springs. Savages had a return spring, but they weren't very strong, but they did have them. You can buy return springs, but I just wrap hairbands around them, man. I live in a house full of girls. There's hairbands everywhere. Look at this. Rolos. I love a Rolo. Bloody hell. I ain't seen Rolos for years. And the missus see them in the shop earlier on. She said, I bought you some Rolos. I said, Rolos? I ain't seen them for years. Love them. I actually answered more than one question in that one thing there. The other one was about the failsafe, so that was the other thing. As far as the running gear goes, what the hell does that mean? What do you want to know? Diffs? Do you want to know drive shafts? Do you want to know engines? Do you want to know gearboxes? I ain't got a clue what the hell running gear means. To me, running gear means the whole lot. Well, I ain't got an answer for that. I mean, I'm just go and buy genuine stuff. As far as I'm concerned, just get genuine stuff, and then you can't go wrong. Sometimes genuine stuff's a bit weak, and you can buy upgraded stuff. But the problem is, when you start upgrading things, weak spots appear in other things, and then you need to upgrade that, and that's when it runs away with you. So I used to be, when I was younger, I used to upgrade things. Like, oh, I want to get that, I want to get that, I want to upgrade that. And then, as I say, because that part's stronger or more powerful or whatever, down the line there's something that was good enough when it was all standard, but now it's not quite good enough anymore because you've got something more powerful up there or something stronger up there. The weak point has moved down to this part. That breaks or bends or something happens. So then you go, oh, I need to fix that. You look around, go to shops. All right, I do an upgraded part for that. I'll get that. And then it happens again. It goes on and on and on. You can imagine, or you probably already know that. And that's not just with RC cars. That's with real life, full size cars. I found that out all my life. All my life that I've been old enough to work on cars, motocross bikes. When I rode them, you upgrade something, some brakes. It's the same story no matter what. Computers, you upgrade the RAM. You know, it gets hotter, so you upgrade the fans, then you end up upgrading the CPU, then you're upgrading the motherboard. Before you know it, you've just built yourself a new computer and you spent thousands and thousands of pounds that you didn't need to spend if you just left it as it was. This Savage has loads, not a lot of it is standard anymore. It's got aluminium axles, it's got aluminium turnbuckles and all sorts. We've got an LRP ZR32 engine. I've got an upgraded front diff, but not the rear one yet, and this gearbox is still the standard one. None of that's been upgraded, so that'll probably break next. We've got upgraded servos, everything in here, Futaba receiver, everything on here is upgraded. So it's not a good example, but I can tell you, Savages, yeah, they are the bee's knees. This one is more than 20 years old. No, it's probably about 20 years old. I think this came out 2004, and so did the Savage 21. This is my Savage 21. She's got a little bit of a leak. Her nitro tank's got a bit of a crack in it, so it does leak out. And I know some of you are going to say, you should never leave nitro in a tank, it'll go to jelly, it's very bad practice. Well, things like that I just don't care about. But this thing, this was absolutely standard for the best part of 15 years. And it was bulletproof, out the box, bulletproof. I rammed it into curbs, none of the axles ever broke. You know, it's rickety, don't get me wrong. The gearbox never broke, nothing ever broke. Things only started to break when I started upgrading things. Yeah, I changed the axles, the suspension bent. You know, I put a bigger engine in it, nothing happened. Everything's fine. So, you know, absolute bulletproof. I can't speak for the more modern Savages. They still make them, you can still buy a HPI Savage. They're really, really expensive now. Are they worth that? I don't know. I've never had the guts to spend that much money on an RC car, let alone a HPI Savage. When I say let alone, I mean, if you're going to buy one and you're going to spend that money, you're going to want to buy a Savage. But I would definitely recommend that you don't go and buy a new one. I recommend that you go and you have a look around. You be prepared to have to spend a bit of money, because they do break. Even though they are the bee's knees, they will break. Everything breaks. Doesn't matter what you've got, things break. But if you have a look around in all the second-hand places, you know, you've got eBay. eBay can be a good one. You've got that dreaded, awful Facebook. Yeah, a lot of scams on there. I don't go nowhere near it. But I made an account just so I could go and have a look on Marketplace to see what's about. It's all a load of crap. But you might find something good. Go and find yourself an original Savage. You've got 21, 25, SS, which is this one is. That's an SS. That's the one that come as a kit. So someone's built that. And pretty much the Savage 3.5, yeah, but that's basically just a 25 with a different colour scheme. There wasn't really a lot different. Then they started making newer ones. They're probably all made in China now. I don't know where these ones were put together. Well, that was a kit, but I don't know where the 21s and 25s were put together. Probably, hopefully not China, but someone might be able to educate us and let us know where they were made. But I'd say go and get yourself an older Savage. I would definitely recommend that. I've got a lot of experience with the older Savages, and I'd say get one, because they're absolutely bulletproof out the box. You can't go wrong, not a single problem. And I'm a massive fan of these tyres. These tyres that come with the original ones, on the newer ones they changed them. I'm not saying they're not any good on the new ones, I'm just saying these ones that come with the original Savages, absolute bollocks. You can't get better. I changed them on my 21 to a different wheel and tyre, and for ages I wish I didn't, but because I spent so much money on them, I think they were like 50 quid for all four. And back then in 2008 or whenever, yeah, it must have been 2007, 2008, that was a lot of money for a set of wheels and tyres. So I was determined to use them and get my money's worth. But when they eventually, I got sick of them as an adult, so I put them back to these original ones. Brilliant. And look at them, they just don't wear. They get plenty of grip, they work on tarmac and grass, dirt, whatever. Brilliant. As far as engines go, I'm not going to go too far into it, because engines are a very controversial topic, I've learned. People get the ump really quick. I'm not into that kind of stuff, I'm just not interested in it. But if you get yourself a Savage, the K4.6 is a brilliant engine in my opinion. It tunes easily, you know, any idiot can tune one of these, in my opinion anyway, and I'm sure other people will say, oh, whatever, but same for these LRPs. Just simple engines, powerful, run really well, tune the dream. You got the 3.5, you know, you could, this is a hot bodies one. This come in the SS when it was new. The person that bought this brand new, because I bought this second hand, this SS, the person that had it new put the kit together, spec'd up this engine and put it in it, and that was that. That's a lovely engine, runs quite well. And then you've got whatever this is. I think this is an F4.6. Not sure really, to be honest. Don't know about this one, I've never run it. That's a second hand engine, that's a different story altogether. The standard 21 engine, if you're looking at, or you've got yourself a standard Savage 21 with the original 21BB engine in it, brilliant engine. Providing it's in good condition, keep it, because it's really good. It will wheelie. The truck, a lot of people said that the standard 21 engines, they're not powerful enough to wheelie. You can wheelie them, you just have to get the knack. A lot of people these days, it's just the way things move along, you know, they're used to just pinning the throttle and then get a wheelie. Yeah, back then when the Savage 21 was released, that was a really powerful engine, and you didn't just get wheelies straight away. You had a knack, yeah, so you have to, providing your engine's got an ample tune on it, it's running reasonably well, you just have to go along quite slow, punch the throttle, let go and punch it again. Yeah, so the suspension goes like this. So you drive along quite slowly, right, you punch the throttle, the suspension goes up, the back goes down, you let go of the throttle, it goes back down again, and then you punch it again. So the suspension's got a bit of preload in it, and when you punch it for the second time, it's got more momentum in it, and it'll go up. And that's how you get a wheelie with a 21 engine. Alright, when they bring out the 25, which wasn't long after the 21, that had a little bit more poke in it, and that would wheelie at the touch of the throttle. Not like the more modern K4.6. The K4.6, they don't sell them anymore. They're quite rare engines. Well, you can buy parts for them, but not readily available, I've found. That will wheelie at the touch of a button. And this LRP, this 32, obviously, this will wheelie straight away as well. But we're talking about modern now. We're talking about modern technology. That 21 engine, if you've got yourself a Savage 21 with the original engine still in it, just keep it. Yeah, because if you get the knack, there's more skill to wheelie in one of them than there is. Any dickhead can wheelie one of them. You know, if you want your truck to wheelie, get the knack, get the skill, keep the 21 engine in it, and you'll love it. It'll be a brilliant truck, it just won't break. Just thought I'd show you a little bit the 21. This engine, as I say, the original engine, you just keep it, it's nuts. I put the Savage SS springs, the whole suspension on it. There's the 21 suspension. Just because basically I've upgraded the suspension on the SS, and I thought, let's put the old suspension on here. The suspension that was on the 21, one of them was bent, well, I bent it, and it needs new oil in it, and I was too lazy to put new oil in them, so I just put them shocks and everything on here. It's made it sit a little bit high, but at least it's alright. It needs a new shell, but it's an absolute beast, and well, I can't recommend them enough. And as I say, there's plenty of upgrade parts out there. You can get the 4 bevel diffs, definitely get them. They come with 2. Just don't waste money though. Yeah, wait for your one, or if you want to buy the 4 bevel and then wait for the old one to break. But wait for your diffs to break, which they won't, by the way. They won't break unless you upgrade the engine, or if you abuse it massively, like holding it and doing 4-wheel burnouts, then you might break the diffs. But they won't break. But wait for your ones to break, and then buy the 4 bevel diffs after. That's probably a really worthwhile upgrade. Other than that, you don't need to do a single thing. Just keep it bloody standard and enjoy the hell out of it, because that's what it's there for. But if you do need to buy anything, I'd say just buy genuine stuff, man. You know, just go and get HPI stuff. You know, you break an axle, go and buy a HPI axle. You break the drive shaft, get a HPI drive shaft. Stick manufacturer. That's what I say now. I've grown up. I've gone out of the old. I've gone out of the habit of getting aftermarket parts, because half of them are crap. That being said, my friends, if I don't want to be seen, well, I don't want to be seen to be putting the aftermarket market down, because there's loads of really good aftermarket parts out there. I'm just saying, if you want reliability, and perhaps you're new to the hobby of Nitro RC, and you want reliability, because no one that's new wants things to break, because then they get the ump. So I'm trying to say, if you want reliability, stick to standard parts. I think we've got that fairly straight now. If you don't, or you want reliability, but you want to experiment, go and get some aftermarket parts and do some upgrades. And this is where I want you lot to come in. I want you to put in the comments of this video recommending some upgrade parts, not just for Savages, but for other cars as well. Brands, what brands would you recommend? RPM and things like that. Put it in the comments, because I might learn something from you. But also, people might look in the comments and learn things from you lot and go and find some upgraded parts that they want. This is where we all help each other out. So yeah, if you know a brand or a shop or a company that sells upgrade parts for any RC car that's Nitro or electric, I suppose, if you're going to go that far, do put it in the comments, and there we go. That's the end of that. I do know that there is many other brands for radio gear. I didn't cover Spectrum. I didn't cover, well, other ones that I can't think of right now. I know that. It's because I've got no experience in them. I've got a Spectrum receiver there, but I haven't got a Spectrum transmitter to go with it. It was lost. Jaguar, yeah, they're old. Don't know if they still make radio gear. I can only give opinions on the ones that I have experience with. Kyosho, I forgot to mention Kyosho. The radio gear that you get with an MP9, don't know about the MP10, haven't got an MP10. The radio gear I got with an MP9, spot on perfect. Yeah, really good, responsive, does the job, good range. Oh, Dunmo. Yeah, how can I forget about that? Dumbo radios. Really cheap. You'd think they'd be crap, but they're actually not that bad. 2.4 gigahertz. I must have had 6 or 7 Dumbo radios over the years. I gave the last 3 of them away to some friends. They wanted to get into the hobby of Nitro RC, but then I give them all the stuff, give them a RC car, give them radio gear. Never heard from them again. So I haven't got them radios anymore. But Dumbo radios, they're good. Yeah, cheap, do the job, robust. They're on it as well. Any of the other brands, if you know a good radio gear brand that is actually good, put it in the comments. You know, someone might see it, go and buy them, have a nice life. So we can all help each other out here, can't we? There's a brand new failsafe there, look, never used. Look how dusty it is. That's what I always did. I just bought stuff and then never used it. Put it in the drawer in the cupboard as a spare, just in case something breaks. Never used it. Anyway, There we go. I'll see you lot on the next one. Any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. If you want to see a video on something, go and ask someone else, because they've got far more knowledge than me. But I'll do my best to help you out, and I'll make a video on whatever it is that I can do to help you, because other people always need it. We can all learn from each other. You know what I mean? I learn from myself sometimes. I do something and I think to myself, what did I do that for? And then I'll do it a different way, and I'm like, oh, that's better. Thanks for teaching me something. Yeah, you're welcome, no problem. It's easy. See you later, you lot. Thanks for being here. Treat each other nicely. Want to have a nice, happy life. Enjoy Nitro, because, well, that's what it's there for.